chest day. 6 sets of chest we're gonna do, and a lot of you might be thinking, dude, 6 sets, that's it? You should just go until you're pumped and fatigued, man. Well, here's the thing. Getting a pump and being fatigued isn't what causes growth. You wanna just get adequate stimulating reps, and a lot of you probably don't know what that is because it's a kind of a newer concept, but here's what it is. A stimulating rep is a rep with full motor unit recruitment, okay? Full motor unit recruitment happens generally within the last 5 reps of a set to failure. So, safe to say, if I'm getting 6 sets total, I'm getting about 30 stimulating reps. And obviously they get less and less stimulating as the workout goes on, because at the beginning, you're more capable of higher motor unit recruitment. But we're just gonna do a lot of chest flies today, get in decent volume, and yeah, we got it on the full stack. Alright guys, seeing as the focus is progressive overload, I think today was pretty decent. I have done the full stack before on this, but not with really good form. Usually I'll end up, thrusting my whole body forward and, cheating with momentum. But this time, I did a lot of good reps, good quality form. Never really done that with the full stack before, so that's nice. And you guys gotta think, a chest fly is involving less muscles than a bench press. So automatically, if your goal is motor unit recruitment, which it should be if you have any interest in hypertrophy, you're going to be choosing stuff that's a little more isolated. Not to say that compound lifts are bad whatsoever, I think they're great. But I think that if you really want to progress a muscle group, especially if it's weaker, your interest should be, okay, how can I progress in the isolations for that muscle group, right? Like if I get my bench press to 4 plates, my chest probably wouldn't be that much bigger than right now, right? Whereas if I took my fly from the max stack to the max stack plus 3 plates, my chest would probably be a lot bigger. So, get stronger at isolations. All right, I reduced the weight by about 20%, which is still going to be very effective. My arms grew very significantly over this past bulk that I did. Now obviously I'm cutting, but they grew like 2 inches, right? Probably a little bit less for the right arm, but the left arm grew about 2. I was doing single arm preacher curls, progressively overloading on a consistent basis, and doing pretty decent volume, right? Not too high and not too low. And so I'm doing the same approach with triceps, right? Because triceps make up 2/3 of your arm. So obviously, if you get big triceps, that's going to contribute to the overall measurement a lot. So if I get better at single arm, I build up to, the full stack. Dude, there's no telling how big my triceps will be. Chest is definitely feeling pumped and fatigued, but That is not the goal. As a bodybuilder, a lot of people try to say, oh man, you have to get pumped, fatigued, sore. You don't have to get any of those things. In fact, those are things you might even want to avoid, not on purpose, right? If you happen to get sore, if you happen to get pumped and fatigued, that's totally fine, and that's actually going to happen to some extent, right? No matter what. But if your goal is hypertrophy, your goal should be, how can I progressively overload and get adequate stimulating reps, okay? If you're getting, say, 25 stimulating reps for a muscle group in a session, then you're going to grow that muscle. Simple as that. If you're getting, on top of that, you know, a good protein intake, if you're getting good sleep, that muscle's gonna grow really well. So your goal should be, how many stimulating reps, how many reps close to failure can I get? That's what's gonna grow you at the end of the day. Single arm tricep push downs. When you're doing this, you want to make sure your elbow's in a fixed position. I mean, listen, you're not going to necessarily move perfectly, but you should definitely try, right? I don't want to see any of this, you know? You should be trying to keep your elbow in a fixed position, because if you don't, then the long head is going to lose leverage, right? You want to keep it right, your shoulder at this neutral position, so that way when you're pushing, the long head still has great leverage to have high motor unit recruitment. Enough of the nerd talk. Let's get the sets done. I'm gonna go do some side lateral raises.
Yeah, he's around $100 a week or more. More, yeah. And you get the rest of the people that's more money. Yeah.
All right, if you guys want to make the most of your physique, you got to learn how to pose to some extent, all right? I practice it at the end of every session, even though I'm not a bodybuilder, but I am trying to be at some point, probably. You know, who knows, maybe I'll compete. But that's beside the point. The point is, present yourself well, right? If I get really big and jacked, but I'm always wearing, big clothes, pump covers, hoodies, joggers, nobody's ever going to see how jacked I am. They just might think of me as maybe a bigger guy. They might even think of me as a smaller guy if I'm on the cut, right? But to really show off the muscle shape and, whatever else, just learn how to do some of the basic poses, right? Let's take a lat spread, for example. I'll just go over this really quick because I don't want to totally lose my pump. But here, I'll take off my shirt to demonstrate. All right, so for the lat spread, you need to learn how to move your scapula, right? There's 2 motions that you can kind of do with your scapula to get either your trap or your lat out more, right? You can move your scapula upward through this motion, right? And that's kind of like, imagine you're reaching really far back behind your body for something, and then keep your scapula in the same position, move your shoulder forward, and boom, look, now the trap's out. And so you could take the inverse of that and say, okay, if I reach my arm all the way overhead, and then keep my scapula where it's at, and move my arm downward, right? Look at where my arm's resting now. It's resting on my lat. So you apply that same principle to both arms, and if you're struggling to do a lat spread, I would do this.